It's showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, trailblazers and trailblazerettes, gather round and prepare yourselves, for tonight we journey once more into the Design Gazette. It is I, your host, the Star Rail Crusader, and this is the show where even goddesses of gold and elegance can make an appearance. That's right, folks, please welcome Aglaea!
O noble guest from afar, the wind brought me news of you along the golden threads. My name is Aglaea, the dressmaster of Okhema, and one of Amphorius's Chrysos heirs. I hope we treat each other with honesty.
Well, if honesty is what you're looking for, let me be honest and say that you have one majestic design, the holy whites, the golden gold, and the air of elegance. But as usual, before we dive into this goddess's design, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button, give the video a like, a share, and maybe even a
care to dance
down in the comments section below. And with all that out of the way, let's jam.
When I was still a dressmaster, my job was already to break the ancient molds of fashion. Now, as a Chrysos heir, I also have the responsibility to remove old wrongs and create brand new beauty.
If you didn't catch it, Aglaea, and Amphorius in general, draws a lot of inspiration from ancient Greek and Roman aesthetics. The ancient styles of these cultures weren't exactly about capturing reality, but more about creating an idealized version of beauty, perfection, and symbolism, and that's why this woman looks so ridiculously majestic. Her dress is a Greek Doric chiton, a type of clothing worn by Greek women between 400 and 100 BC. It was usually made of lightweight fabrics like linen or wool, perfect for staying cool and moving freely in the Mediterranean heat. The outfit further sets itself in the period with jewelry like a broad collar necklace, rings, and cuff bracelets, all of which are adorned in gold and were often worn by wealthy and noble women within Greek society. The architecture in Aglaea's splash art and ultimate, specifically the pillars, are also inspired by the Ionic Order, a Greek architectural style known for its slim columns and ornate capitals that curve like scrolls or the locks of a woman's hair. This architectural style was associated with feminine grace and beauty, a theme you'll see pop up a lot when discussing this character. But these are only a few visual elements. Rather than visual, I would say the biggest influence on Aglaea's design has to be Greek mythology itself. In the mythology, there's a group of goddesses called the Graces or Charities who embody charm, joy, and beauty. Because of what they represent, they were often seen alongside gods of love and creation like Aphrodite and Dionysus. They were usually depicted as three young women dancing together, and their names were Euphrosyne, Thalia, and Aglaea. Now, outside of the information I just gave you, there's not much to be said about the other Graces, but Aglaea does stand out as the most well-known of the three, mainly because she ended up marrying Hephaestus, the god of the forge. And even then, the only reason the story stuck out is because of Hephaestus and how messy his previous marriage to Aphrodite was. The issue? Well, Aphrodite was the goddess of love, and how do I put it? She was meant for the streets. So yeah, when Hephaestus eventually married Aglaea and settled down peacefully, it was a well-deserved happy ending for him. Now, this might not be the most dramatic tale in Greek mythology, but do keep it in mind because it ties into another aspect of a design that we'll get to in a bit. So if our Aglaea only shares a name with mythological Aglaea, who exactly does she take her imagery from? Well, the biggest tell of that can be found in golden leaves. You can spot these golden leaves all over her design, like in the laurel of her hair, the strap on her thigh, the UI of her kit, the necklace on her back, the hilt of her sword, the pattern on her scarf, the anklet of her leg, the background of her splash art, and even the particle effects of every single one of her combat animations. So, what are they? They are bay leaves. In both Roman and Greek culture, bay leaves symbolized achievement and honor. They were made into these laurel crowns and awarded to champions in athletic competitions and victorious military leaders. Over time, the bay leaf became associated with victory and triumph, and the goddess most closely linked to those themes would be Nike.
Just do it, do it.
No, I meant the goddess of
Goddess of Victory, Nike.
Is it too late to say I don't like gacha games? Nike, the goddess of victory, represents triumph in many fields, war, athletics, and even arts. She's often linked to laurel wreaths, palm branches, and other symbols of victory, just like the ones you can spot in Aglaea's design. Nike is also commonly depicted as a winged figure, symbolizing how she quickly delivers victory. That goes a way to explain why both Aglaea and Garment Maker have golden wings at the tail end of their dresses. And wait, I haven't yet talked about Garment Maker now, have I? Well, on to the next chapter.
Nestia granted this world thousands of romances, and dressmaking is my favorite. Threads and fabric shimmer through my fingers, like how the fates of all living things become connected and woven into being.
In Greek mythology, the Olympian gods rose to power by overthrowing Titans, a story that closely mirrors Emphorius, where the Chrysos heirs must save the world by defeating Titans and taking their core flames. That's why the Chrysos heirs have designs inspired by Greek gods, and why each one represents a specific ideal. For Aglaea, her core flame embodies romance. But what exactly is romance? The most common answer is romantic love, an emotional physical attraction between two people, often marked by intimacy and idealization. Thank you, Google. But romance can also be a grand story of chivalry, adventure, and love, filled with heroism, conflict, and passion. Or romance can even be a mood or ambiance found in a candlelit dinner or a song that stirs those warm and mushy feelings inside. If I had to define romance, I'd say it's a way of seeing the world with appreciation and optimism. It's about finding beauty in the little things, idealizing people, experiences, and art in a way that makes you fall in love with them. Take reading, for example. An ebook and a physical book might contain the same words, but the experience feels different. The scent of paper, the sound of turning pages, the texture under your fingertips, it all carries a certain charm, a romantic quality. Romance, in this sense, isn't just about love between people, it's an appreciation that extends to stories, experiences, and art itself. And that's where I want you to recall the mythological relationship between Hephaestus and Aglaea. Aglaea, as one of the Graces, was known for her beauty and charm, while Hephaestus was a master craftsman and inventor. Their union symbolizes the idea that when beauty and craftsmanship come together, they create works that inspire romance. And looking at a design, it's clear that Aglaea from Starward embodies this concept, as she's skilled in many arts of romance that revolve around some sort of craftsmanship. Her favorite craft, of course, is dressmaking. As the dressmaster of Okhema, her familiars, the garment makers, are even designed after dress form mannequins. Her passion for the craft is woven into every part of the design, from the way she converts her swords into giant scissors to the many tailoring references in her kit's UI and copywriting. But dressmaking isn't her only love. If we look at the ticking metronome in a trailer, we get another clue. Typically, metronomes help musicians keep tempo, but they're just as useful for dancers to choreograph their movements. And we know for sure that Aglaea embraces the romance of dance, as many of her combat animations have her performing ballroom dance moves with Garment Maker as her partner. And let's not even get started on the romance that Garment Maker feels for Aglaea. 100% simp if I've ever seen one, just like myself. And that is where the danger of romance comes into play, because at its core, romance is a way of perceiving the world. If that perception becomes burdened or misinformed, even the most twisted things can become romanticized. A warped sense of romance can lead to obsession, disillusionment, and becoming so entangled in a situation that you lose sight of your own needs and identity. For a puppet mannequin like Garment Maker, selfhood isn't exactly a concern for them. But for Aglaea, she might just be caught in a deadly romance of her own, one that involves the fate of her people.
The world is almost destroyed after the Chrysos War. And now Okhema alone remains as the sole city of humanity. My duty is to protect this remaining haven at any cost.
In Norse mythology, the Norns are powerful beings who weave threads of fate at the base of Yggdrasil, the world tree. In Japanese mythology, Amaterasu, the sun goddess, is sometimes linked to the weaving of golden threads. And in Greek mythology, the Moirai, or the Fates, control destiny itself. Among them, Clotho spins the thread of life, which is often depicted as golden, symbolizing a person's life force and destiny. Across these many mythologies, the common theme is golden threads often symbolize a person's fate. And for someone who holds the title of Gold Weaver, Aglaea isn't just another leader, she's the one who dictates the fate of her people. Predicting the future has always been a dark and messy business, but in Greek mythology, golden threads were often a way to navigate the chaos, like in the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur. In the story, Theseus ventures into the labyrinth to slay the monstrous Minotaur, but many before him had entered and never found their way out. It's only with the help of Princess Ariadne, who gifts him a golden thread, that he succeeds. By using the thread to mark his path, he ensures he can retrace his steps to escape. So, when we talk about the golden thread, it's more than just a symbol. It's a metaphor for creating clarity and direction in what would otherwise be a confusing and disorientating journey. For Aglaea, her greatest love is the people of Emphorius, spending every day weaving a fate that ensures their survival. Her romance core flame isn't just about passion, it represents her dedication to protecting humanity. but as she weaves this golden path forward, she loses pieces of herself along the way. Her eyes, once full of life, are now dull from the endless weaving of fate. She cherishes people, yet she's willing to sacrifice the few to save the many. With every thread pulled through the needle, her humanity fades, and the romance she holds for her people twists into something far more complex, leaving us with only one question. Is she truly weaving these golden threads? Or have they already bound her, turning her into a slave of fate? Only time will tell. And that is a wrap on episode 19 of the Design Gazette. If you enjoyed our time together, be sure to help me out by liking, sharing, and commenting down below on some of your favorite things about Aglaea. Links in the description if you want to buy me a coffee, and if you're new around here, hi, I'm the starward Crusader, and I have a whole series of Design Gazettes and story recaps for you to enjoy by hitting that big red button. So, thanks to this Design Gazette, I basically got roped into playing Starl again and diving into Amphorius. And even though the first act was pretty silent, I really liked it. There's just so much to chew on here. And despite the heavy mythological exposition, the dialogue actually just feels much more snappier and sharper than I expected. The new characters are just bizarre and all of them are interesting, and making Final on the Trailblazer's Guide was such a good call. His voice acting and writing are just spot on, especially when he interacts with Mighty. Their dynamic is just chef's kiss. The characters are throwing out zingers, the lore is digestible, and even the NPCs are fun to listen to. Maybe it's because the last two arcs of Lawful and Penacony were just so complex, but this more heroic and straightforward story feels like a breath of fresh air. Don't get me wrong, the convoluted style worked perfectly for Penacony with its whodunit mystery vibe, but Amphorius feels like a return to Belobog. It's direct, it's epic, and I just know I'm going to lose it when the Greek version of Wildfire eventually kicks in. But for now, I think I'll try and hold off just a bit more, and keep hoping that at least Dunhung's VA eventually makes a return. And that's all I have to say right now on my initial thoughts on Amphorius. It could change and become more exposition-y and yappy, because apparently this is going to be Star Rail's longest story, but for now, I really think it was good. And with all that said, may your journey lead you ever starward.